What is going on, everyone? Welcome into Big Time Football Talk. So I wanted to get into this. I wanted to preview the Oklahoma football team. And I wanted to start with this statement. I think the Oklahoma Sooners are going to win the Big 12 conference this year. Baylor's another popular pick, but there's a lot of reasons why I like Oklahoma this year. First off, the defense wasn't really as good as I thought it was, and I really thought this program had really taken a step forward, improving the defense. But when I watched their defense, there was some, Oklahoma State, Winfrey specifically the D tackle, but they had several offside penalties. DBs were, the tackling was iffy. The DBs, were up and down in coverage all season long. But I think Brent Venables comes in. He's a former defensive coordinator at Oklahoma, and then the defensive coordinator most recently for Clemson on the the teams that have been so great at Clemson, including the 2018 national title team. So, Venables comes in. They're going to play a lot more fundamentally sound. I know he's going to clean up the tackling, and I know he's going to maximize the talent on the defensive side of the ball, even though, I look at their starters, and I don't really get super excited about the guys they return, but there is some talent. I like the secondary. Woody Washington's a guy that stands out. 2 interceptions in the Oklahoma State game. Had an interception. I don't know. He had the 2 in the Oklahoma State game. Billy Bowman, Trey Morrison is a guy that comes over from North Carolina. Key Lawrence. Those are some names to watch in the secondary. Deshaun White returns at linebacker. David Agwebu. I thought Agwebu was going to play a little bit better than he did last year, but he's a big physical run stopper. Deshaun White, pretty solid football player. Losing a guy like Brian Asamoah hurts a lot, but Agwebu, White should be pretty solid. The defensive line, a bit of a question mark. Losing Nick Bonito. Nick Bonito was the key edge rusher, but they do return a guy, Jalen Redmond, who's pretty impressive, 6'3". Where do they have him listed? 6'3", 284, and he moves a lot better. Moves very well for a guy that big. Has some pretty good bend for a guy that's 284 pounds, and I like his ability to get off of blocks and rush the passer. So Jalen Redmond, number 31, will be a guy to watch. Javante Barnes is a running back that comes in, with a lot of hype. DeMarco Murray, now the running backs coach for the Sooners, recruited Javante Barnes hard. He comes in with a lot of hype. Played very well in the spring game. You look at the receiving corps, it's pretty solid. Marvin Mims is getting a lot of hype as a top 10, top 5 receiver. I don't see top 5 receiver, but he's a guy that was, super productive out the slot, can create some big plays and whatnot. But, number 17, Marvin Mims, the guy to watch for. Theo Weiss, a receiver, is pretty good. The offensive line wasn't as great as it has been, but they do, have some experience. They get a transfer from Cal over to that side of the ball. But the big news on offense is to transfer Dylan Gabriel at quarterback. I love Dylan Gabriel. Dude, outstanding football player. Can just shred, UCF is a guy, gunslinger. That term, I don't use that term often, but I think that's a term that can fit with Dylan Gabriel. But when I think gunslinger, I think sloppy play, and I do not think of sloppy play when I watch Dylan Gabriel. He's a guy that, can surgically pick apart defenses. It's outstanding, very good to elite, short area, mid-range accuracy. I see a lot of Tua Tagovailoa, but I think he could be even better than Tua. Honestly, I mean, this is a guy that was, super productive at UCF. He's a gamer, competes, plays hard. I think he's going to come in and, bring an edge and bring that leadership to Oklahoma. And I think his offense is going to get him over the top. Even if they do stumble in one game this year, I think Dylan Gabriel's play will be outstanding throughout the course of the season and in big games to get him over the top. So, for those number of reasons, the first thing, Venables, I think cleans up some of the mistakes on defense and maximizes, some of the talent they have, with, Dylan Gabriel transferring in, Javante Barnes at running back. I think with those, And also they got Eric Gray, too, who's a former transfer from Tennessee, who was pretty solid. I think with all that considered, you got to like Oklahoma's odds to win the Big 12 this year, and I'm going to pick them to win the Big 12, even over the Baylor Bears, who are getting a lot of hype as far as winning the league goes. But Oklahoma, Oklahoma's been as consistent of a program as, there is. And, really, every year they're more talented than, pretty much everyone they play. Last year, they stumble, they lose to Oklahoma State, but at that point there was a lot of distractions around the program. Players said they were distracted about the Lincoln Riley situation. Was he leaving? Was he staying? I think this year this team is a lot more focused. It's a lot more hungry. They're looking to, make a statement. Combine that with Gabriel's leadership, and you got a team that, if I'm wrong here, I'm sorry, but I think the over-under is 8.5. I would, over in a heartbeat, I would pick. It's kind of changed that some of these over and unders keep moving around. I know USC's was, I think it opened at 8.5. Now it's up to 9, I believe. So don't quote me on that, but I believe, honestly, whatever it is, even if it's 9, give me 9.5, 10. I'll take the over on the Sooners. Go ahead and catch that bet on the over on Oklahoma. So that's what I wanted to touch on with Oklahoma. I think they win the Big 12 with the combination of things I just stated. Next up is Roquan Smith. So Roquan Smith has demanded a trade from Chicago. Why is this significant? Because Roquan Smith's one of the best linebackers in football. He has been super consistent, for the Chicago Bears. He's a tackling machine. Played a lot of good football for the Chicago Bears. A former first-round pick, 8th overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft. And here's the thing with Roquan Smith: the Bears have put an offer on the table, and he said, quote, that it was a take it or leave it offer. And he's also said, quote, "This is bad for myself and bad for the linebacker market," end quote. So this is one of those where your initial reaction is they should pay Roquan Smith. Most Bears fans out there saying you should pay Roquan Smith. He's one of the best linebackers in football. But you're missing something about Roquan Smith that dates back to the Georgia days. He has a slight deficiency, when it comes to shedding blocks. He really relies on his lateral movement and quickness to get off of offensive linemen. It's something that if you watch Brett Coleman film breakdowns, it was apparent, especially in the Oklahoma game. He does not, his play strength when it comes to, strength at point of the attack, when engaging offensive linemen is not very good. He can get pushed around. You saw it this year. I went back and watched the Steelers game, and when 2 offensive linemen got on him, not only could he not hold his ground, he was pushed back, and the one play led to a Najee Harris touchdown. So I think if you're Chicago, you're thinking, do you really want to pay a guy top linebacker money that has a clear deficiency that you need to? I've heard this terminology, keep clean. Keep offensive linemen off him by using big physical defensive linemen. And if you're the Bears right now, you're in a full rebuild mode. So why would you pay up for a guy? When your roster, the Bears defensive line isn't as good as what it was. You see a lot of Bears fans. I was seeing comment that Roquan Smith's one of the last key guys from the dominant Bears defense of just a few years ago. So why would you pay a guy to top linebacker money who has a slight deficiency, but it's a clear deficiency nonetheless in his ability to get off of blockers and strength at point of attack when it comes to engaging interior offensive linemen, and it also shows up on screenplays as well. So point being, I like this Bears decision of just, hey, why not? We'll put an offer on the table. If he really wants to, take less money and, if he really loves Chicago, which he says he does, and I believe him, but, if he really wants to be here, he'll be here and take less money. But, if not, they're content with, at this point, I think with Roquan Smith walking or with Roquan Smith getting traded and having no part in this deal, it's a commitment to a full rebuild to a Bears roster that's really not great, to be honest. So Yeah. Next up, the Green Bay Packers released official depth chart, and it turns out Quay Walker, linebacker from Georgia, rookie, is listed as a starter for the Green Bay Packers. Now, why is this significant for the Green Bay Packers? Because Quay Walker was a guy throughout the draft process, wasn't getting a lot of hype as the top, as one of the top linebackers in this draft. But, later as it came out, Chris Sims had him at number 2. I went back and watched. I finally put him at number 2. And some people even believe that he could be the steal of this draft in the top linebacker in this draft. Now, why was this significant at the time he was taken? Because if you remember, Walker was one of the 2 first-round picks that Green Bay took. They took Quay Walker. They took his teammate Devontae Wyatt. This was big because they did not take a receiver. They later, Green Bay ended up taking a receiver second round, getting Christian Watson. But, Quay Walker, this is if you're a Packers fan, this has to be a relief. It's got to be, if you still don't know a lot about Quay Walker, it's got to be creating a lot more curiosity, and it's got, as you do more research, it's got to create more excitement. But Quay Walker, the measurables, we're talking 6'4", 241 pounds, 4'5", 240, 32-inch vertical. We're talking about an outstanding athlete. We're talking about a guy that was, outstanding last year for Georgia. Maybe the unsung hero on the defense. Jordan Davis is talked about too as the one of the unsung heroes. But as much hype as he got later, you kind of put that narrative behind you. But moves so well in zone coverage. That's one thing that stands out. It's outstanding lateral movements, and plays fearless. Has no hesitation when it comes to taking on blocks. So I love Quay Walker. I'm so happy that he's doing super well in the Green Bay practices, and I think he's going to be an outstanding football player. Along with Devontae Wyatt, the D tackle from Georgia they drafted. This is a Green Bay defense that's just getting better and better, and they have some serious athletes. And when I look at it, I think this is the most talented roster in the division. I mean, look at the secondary. Eric Stokes, who played pretty well as a rookie last year. Jair Alexander, who may be the best cornerback in the National Football League. Darnell Savage, Adrian Amos, Rashawn Gary, who's emerging at the outside linebacker position. You still got Kenny Clark there, Devondre Campbell, pretty solid. So you gotta really like what Green Bay is doing as far as defensively, and obviously you have Aaron Rodgers there, and then second round you draft Christian Watson. So quietly, Aaron Rodgers will get all the attention, but quietly Green Bay made some outstanding first couple round picks, and with this Quay Walker news, you're feeling even more confident in that pick if you're a Green Bay fan. It's like with a lot of fan bases that if probably Green Bay fans 5 years from now will look back and everyone will say what a great pick, but no one will talk about all the Green Bay fans that were very skeptical and in outrage at the time that they didn't draft a receiver or whatever other position they wanted to draft. But yeah, good for Quay Walker, good for the Green Bay Packers, and obviously a huge win for the Georgia defense. So next I want to transition to another Georgia Bulldog making news is Travon Walker. And Walker, the first thing that stands out so far is he looked great in the Hall of Fame game, even though it was against a second string offensive tackle he was going against. You see the powerful bull rush. Just what type of athlete we're talking about with Travon Walker. Like his former teammate, Quay Walker, the testing's off the charts. 6'5", we're talking about a guy that's over 270, runs, 4'5". It's elite testing for a man that big, just off the charts. But showing the explosion, showing what really made him great at Georgia is really translating to Jacksonville. So really like Travon Walker, and played outstanding football in the Hall of Fame game, and it sounds like he's getting high praise from Doug Peterson. And if you're a Jaguars fan, you have to be happy. and really believe that that Travon Walker is going to do some big things for this football team heading into this season. And a guy that's with currently third best odds for Defensive Rookie of the Year. So we'll see. But I want to get to this. So I want to get to my pick for Defensive Rookie of the Year. It's Aiden Hutchinson for the Detroit Lions. Hutchinson, boy, he's looked good in practice. Going against Sewell, he's looked outstanding, showing the size, quickness, and Dan Campbell's touched on how willing he is to work and just get better each and every day. I think that combination, along with a much improved Detroit Lions football team, and a coaching staff that's really going to put him in a position to be successful, and then an improved D-line overall, so he's not just being keyed on, getting double teamed, chipped constantly. I think with that all in consideration, I think Aiden Hutchinson brings home Defensive Rookie of the Year. He's the most betted on guy for Defensive Rookie of the Year right now in Vegas. His odds sit at plus 500. And, I'm all for it, and I'll take the chalk on this one. Last year, I should have made the pick. Last year, I would have picked Micah Parsons to win Defensive Rookie of the Year and Jamar Chase. There was a video of me on a Cold Hard Truths podcast calling, for Jamar Chase to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. So I should have made those bets this year. Or should have made those bets last year, but this year I'm going to make those bets. And I'm going to lock in Aiden Hutchinson. I'm going to take the chalk at plus 500. Aiden Hutchinson, number 97 rookie for the Detroit Lions and former Michigan Wolverine to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. But a sleeper I got at plus 1,000 is Derek Stingley Jr. Derek Stingley Jr., when he's healthy, what type of athlete, what type of football player he is, and, what he brings to the table. Stingley's, been limited in practice. Lovie Smith has been talking that they're kind of trying to ease him into it. But, see him, returning punts, and you see him, covering receivers, creating pass breakups, getting interceptions, moving very well in DB drills, showing a lot of the outstanding traits that he showed at LSU. And, I like him as the sleeper at plus 1,000. Ahmad Gardner is another sleeper, cornerback, rookie corner for the Jets. He also comes in just behind Derek Stingley at, it's actually plus 1,100. But, those guys, obviously were talked about as the top two corners in last year's draft. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Looking forward to, speaking of Detroit Lions football, tonight is Hard Knocks, the season premiere of, the show, the Detroit Lions being featured tonight. And should be interesting. I'm curious to see, obviously, Hutchinson, they'll show a lot. I'm curious to see which players they're going to show and which players we're going to get to know a little bit more about. What personalities really shine. It's reported that Hutchinson sings a Michael Jackson song for the entertainment, and that he's shows off his singing talent as well. It sounds like Lee McNeil, the nose tackle, has a big personality. It seems like Levi Onwuzurike might be a guy with a big personality. I know he's hurt right now, but DJ Chark. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I'm sure it'll show his work ethic. He's been featured on HBO before for, his family, obviously one of the, most athletic families up there, with the Boses and the Watts. So very excited to see, Hard Knocks tonight premiering, just shortly right now. It's, just before 9 p.m. So that's all I have for you guys. I'm going to wrap with that. Thanks so much for tuning in this episode of Big Time Football Talk. Stay tuned. I'm going to post clips from this show. Until next time, peace.